And welcome everyone. Welcome back. I had some technical problems, but I think that everything should be working now. Yeah, it looks good. So welcome back everyone, another stream. I'm really excited. I would like to stream a bit more often. And also improve my Blitz and bullet skills online. Sorry about that. But yeah, I've been playing online chess pretty poorly, so I really need to improve that. Just also because online events are just getting so much more important, and it's also quite a lot of fun to play online apart from that. So let's just set everything up. Before we jump into it, I wanted to have a look at the Prague Masters before we jump into all of the Blitz. Because currently there is the Prague Masters tournament being played in Prague, obviously. And let me just share my screen. All right, should work. Let me just adjust this right here. So we have a couple of interesting games here, and I just briefly wanted to go over them. Thought it would be interesting. Also for you guys to hear my thoughts. So as I said in one of my videos, I am a second for one of the players in that event. But I will not reveal it yet. Maybe we could do like a challenge. Yeah, if you reach some sort of stream goal, like subscribers, then I will reveal it at the end of the stream. What do you think about that? So welcome back, everyone. I see that many people are joining the stream, so welcome everyone. I was just saying we just jumped into some. I just wanted to discuss a couple of the games from Prague Masters, and if some of you heard, I am working as a second for that event for a certain player in the Masters group, but I haven't revealed yet who it is. So it would be one idea to reveal who I'm working for, and yeah, let's do it like this: that we set up a certain subscriber goal, and if we reach that, I will reveal it at the end of the stream. So currently I'm sitting at 4,164 subscribers. What do you guys think? Is 4,200? Is that a good goal to reach? Let me know in the chat. Do you find difference in performance between Blitz with increment and without? Yeah, certainly. It's well, without increment, it comes down to a lot of flagging in the end. At the end of the day, basically. So speed is even more important if you're playing without increment. I personally like to play with increment perhaps more. At least the quality of the games are better. Personally, also if you're playing over the board Blitz and don't have increment, then just pieces start flying all over the board, and I'm not a big fan of that. But if you're playing online, it's sort of more civilized, unless you're having some sort of rage quit, then of course it's different. But hopefully that won't happen tonight. Hopefully no rage quits in this stream. So I hear people talking about it and thought it was Prague Masters. Few days of asking myself what happened. No, it's Prague Masters, the city Prague. But Prague is playing in the Prague Masters. So Praggnanandhaa is playing in Prague. All right, so let's jump into the games. This is the first game I want to have a look at. Shankland against Nguyen. It was a King's Indian I saw before. And here Black played this line with Bishop G4. I think that Sam played like this already in the Sharjah Masters, like almost a year ago, 10 months or something like that. And the point of this Bishop G4 system, actually it's quite an interesting system, if I may say it like this, because Black is increasing the pressure in the center on D4. So Black now is kind of has ideas to take on F3. For example, if H3, Black would take, and then has better control of the D4 square. For example, knight C6 would be one idea now, and if D5, this knight could jump into D4. And similar, if White takes on E5, then D takes E5, and the Black knight will jump into D4. And Black is probably even already better here. So this would be kind of a disaster for White if this if this were to happen. So therefore, Nguyen played d5. I think another option here is to take d takes e5. I need to set something up here because I want to be able to see the chat as well. I think it's good like this. Let me know if the layout is fine, guys. Hope it's all right. Hope it's all right. But I need to adjust something here a little bit. My apologies. I'm still kind of new to all of the streaming stuff, and I need to be able to see the chat somehow. So therefore, I'm just trying to figure out how it's best. Give me one moment, guys. All right. I think that looks fine. What do you think? Yeah, can't see the board, but now it should be better. I'm just adjusting it a little bit more. So okay, we almost got it. Now I think it's good. Now I can see all of you guys commenting. And I will at the same time adjust the board again. That's a bit too much. All right. I think that looks good. I think that's fine. For now, at least. Once we start playing Blitz, I might have to adjust it once again. So let me have a look at the chat. Hello, Peter. Welcome back to the stream. I also feel like increment is more serious and games are played till the end. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, way more serious and no flagging business there. What is Black's idea in fried liver when Black plays d5? Maybe we can go to that later. I just first want to have a look at a couple of the games from Prague. Prague playing in Prague, yeah, hilarious. That's true. Kind of a dad joke. Lecha sounds much louder than your voice. Okay, thank you for letting me know. Then I'll adjust the level a little bit. Now it should be a bit better once the moves start to come in again. Can't see the board. Yeah, now it should be fine. Prague would have to make pragmatic decisions with less than 10 minutes. Let's see the game in a second. Can anyone have access to this Leech's theme, or is it something for streamers or GMs? That's a great question. While I was streaming the World Championship match, the Leech's team gave me like some sort of plugin to change the layout a little bit, and I just haven't changed it back. It looks a little bit different, but yeah, I don't think it's that much different. So yeah, it's some sort of a plugin to make the stream better, I think. But I think it should be accessible to everyone. Yeah, different background too. That's true. But I think the squirrel means something else than the background theme, because it does look a little bit different after all. But let's see what happened in the game. So bishop g4, d5 was played. So this bishop g4 line, if you're a King's Indian player, this would be definitely something to look into. Just to increase the pressure in the center. d5 is one of the moves, probably the most principled choice. D takes e5 would be another way to handle the position, because now if d takes e5, I think white can take on e5 right away. I think that's the point. And if bishop takes e2, queen takes e2, there's no way to regain the pawn, because usually knight takes e4 often works, but here queen takes e4 and the queen is guarding the knight on e5. And if queen takes d1, now bishop d1 is the point, I think. Because if rook d1, again, black could take and then take on e4. And I guess black is totally fine. But bishop d1 is the point. And if bishop d1, rook d1, knight e4, that's a good question. what happens here. Because I think this is not supposed to work. Take. Huh, cannot figure it out. Bishop d1, and if... Do you guys see it? What am I missing? Rook d1, knight e4? What am I missing here? What am I missing? Is there something for white? There must be. Knight e4, bishop e5 looks fine over the board, because if bishop h6, there's bishop g7 or rook e8. Huh, I don't see it. Knight e4, rook e1, where do you mean knight e4, rook e1? Not here, yeah? Knight takes e4, rook e1, because black can take here and for example rook e8, and black is probably better because these pawns are quite weak. What's the point here, guys? Because I'm absolutely certain that d takes e5 doesn't work as well here. Bishop takes f3 is the main line, and if bishop f3 now e takes f6, black takes on e2, hitting the queen on d1, takes, and queen f6, and this is one other choice for white, which leads to this other quite common King's Indian structure, where white has more space, but black does have his own ideas to play on the queen side. For example, if c6, a6, b5 later on. I think I checked something like this. Bishop e3 is one of the moves. Knight a6, queen c2, for example, and something like this, queen e6, b3. Protect this pawn, or maybe knight d5 would be an option as well. Knight d5, c6 is there. And usually black will try to get something, just as an example, something like this, and then to play for a6 and b5. This is one of the ideas. But I still haven't figured out why this doesn't work. Knight d5 for sure is correct. Take on d1, bishop d1, and what if he takes here? So rook d1 has to be the move, right? Because knight takes d1, just knight takes e4. I don't see anything here. So rook d1, knight takes e4. Ah, is that possible? What about knight g6 here? Because if you take now, I will take and I gain the pawn. Knight g6 before rook d1. Well, if you take now, black can take back, and after rook d1, if we count pieces, black is a piece up. So here it doesn't work. Here it doesn't work because at the end black is a piece up. So that was my point, to take after rook d1, knight takes e4, now to take only. Because now this is a typical example for desperados, when, yeah, knight on e5 is hanging and white wants to at least get something in return, like desperately trying to gain as much material as possible on the way there. And I think knight c3, knight e7, king h8. That was my point. B takes c3, and now I thought I might be a little bit better. For example, rook b1. This knight has a hard time coming out. So let's see if this variation is correct at all. Yeah, rook d1 and knight g6. Only way to be better with white here. So that's nice to know that. Hello M, welcome to the stream. For everyone who just joined in, I was just looking at this line. We have the game Nguyen against Shankland from the Prague Masters tournament. And I was just explaining the points of bishop g4, which is quite a serious sideline, which Shankland played. And yeah, black in general is playing for this d4 square. So Nguyen played d5, but we were just analyzing what happens after d takes e5 and now d takes e5. Because I was explaining that bishop f3 is the best move, which I knew. And now the line goes ef6, take, and the position is roughly balanced. But we were wondering what happens after d takes e5, knight takes e5, queen d1, bishop d1. And in this position, at the end, I was able to spot knight g6 when white keeps some advantage here. But anyway, d5 happened in the game, a5, knight e1, and now Shankland goes back bishop c8, which probably came as a surprise to Van, because he spent 15 minutes and then went knight d3. Usually I think black takes here, and after queen takes e2, goes something like knight a6, knight c5. Or, well, now knight d3 comes, so maybe b6 or something like that, and later on black will try to play for f5. Usually knight h5, queen e8, and then f5. But Shankland went back bishop c8, knight d3, b6, a3, knight d7, bishop g5, and now knight c5. So he voluntarily went for this structure here. And Van followed it up with a4, which is a typical idea, fixing the weakness on a5. And often it can be attacked with ideas like bishop d2, queen e1, and then knight b5. But of course, that's quite a difficult plan to achieve in general, because black will have his own counterplay on the king side. So this is how the game went. Queen b8, very interesting. This looks like a nice regrouping to the bishop, for the bishop on c2, just to guard the pawn on e4 as well, and preparing knight b5 at the same time. So this knight on b5 is quite a wonderful piece. And Shankland sacrificed the pawn. Well, he gained it back. And apparently Van missed something here. He went rook takes b5, but apparently there is a better way to recapture. What can it be? A takes b5 or c takes b5? I mean, rook b5 looks very logical. Like, you plant this rook into b5, and even this position looks very pleasant for white. But according to the computer, apparently this is nothing. So looks like there is a better way to recapture. I don't really like taking with this pawn, because then this pawn will, the a5 pawn will become quite strong. For example, rook a7 and then a4 could come, even though I might stop the pawn. Rook a3. Yeah, white could double on the a file, but it's quite hard to achieve because rook a1 doesn't work yet. And but maybe white can get there somehow, like slowly, like bishop d3, then rook e1, rook a2, rook e1, rook e2, rook a2. That's one option. Also, c takes b5 might be an idea. But again, after something like rook a8, it's like rook b5 looks very logical. I wonder what the computer says here. Wow, c takes b5, or even rook h3. This is a move which no human at all would consider. But apparently this is the strong idea. Rook h3, h5, and now f4. And it looks like white is just going for the attack here. f5 could be one idea. Even g4 could be one idea. Yeah, rook h3 is the point, correct? So white is provoking this weakness with h5. And now is going full on for the attack. Another crazy move, queen d8, queen g4. Like another move which no human in this world would probably consider. But it's maybe not so bad, because the king cannot move anyway because of rook h5. You considered it, yeah? Well, you're just too strong, yeah? I mean, queen g4 is an insane move. But anyway, Van took with the rook, which I think looks very logical. And let's go a couple of moves further. I'm sorry, I just need to adjust this once again. Need to adjust it again. All right, now we should be good again. Let me just put my camera here. So this was played in the game, and wow, many things happened here. So he went. This is where we stopped. He went back with the queen, hitting the pawn on a5. Again, regrouping his bishop to f3. He went f6, I guess, to stop e5 for good. Bishop g4, h5. And now e5 happened, e6. Oof. Looks like things are escalating here. Black is definitely having some counterplay. Apparently it's equal, queen e1 and queen h2. What if I push the pawn? Then you can just, I guess, take and go bishop c3, yeah. Well, objectively, it's heading towards a draw. Let's see what happens. Why bishop f3 instead of bishop g4, g7, c6? Yeah, that's a good point. Also, why not bishop e6? I could also ask that question. Or bishop d7, as you said. I like that more, yeah, to put the bishop. I don't know if you want to go to c6. It's kind of trapping the queen, but at the same time, perhaps not doing that much here. But it's also certainly an idea. Bishop also does look quite nice here. But putting the bishop to e6 would have certainly been quite logical. Just give me 1 minute, guys. I just need to take care of something. I'll be back in just 1 minute. All right, I'm back, everyone. I apologize for that. So, yeah, so bishop e6 probably would have been a better choice here. But he played bishop f3, and yeah, this is the current position we are with. That is the current position. By the way, is everything working well? Like, is the sound fine? Just let me know. Or if I'm too loud, or if everything is all right. But yeah, this is the current position. Apparently, objectively, it's equal. Hi, Leopold. Welcome to the stream. Let's have a look at the next game between Edis Gurel and Prague. So this was a French. I saw that before. The Tarrasch variation. Very classical. He went queen d7. Black has 3 major moves here: queen d7, queen d6, and queen d8. These are like the main ideas here. Everything is good. That's great. Thank you, guys, for letting me know. So he went queen d7. There are some differences with the queen moves, some upsides and some downsides. But overall, the positions are quite similar in the end. Castle, knight c6, knight b3. So white usually regains the pawn on d4. And he went for this very classical line, rook e1. And now Prague played bishop c5, bishop e3. Yeah, quite a standard position for this variation. We always get this 3-3 versus 4 against 2 pawn structure, which offers quite a lot of interesting things, actually, because in the end game often white is the one who has the better chances, because he is often able to create an outside passed pawn. But in the middle game, black either can play in the center with e5, f5, often launching an attack here, even though now with the knight on f6 that's probably less likely to happen. But also, like in the game, he put his bishop to b7, and often black is able to launch some sort of kingside attack in this sort of structure. So this happened, knight e5, c3, rook b8, knight e5. Apparently bishop f3 is an interesting move, according to the computer. Not an easy choice to give up this nice bishop on b7. But I guess the computer is arguing that if white manages to put the knight on e5, it's worth more than the bishop on b7. Okay, interesting. But he went rook b8, which looks more logical, and yeah, a couple of moves further, queen e5, offering trade of queens. Yeah, for example, in the endgame, if something like this would happen, of course now the concrete issue is also that black cannot take here because of rook d8 followed by checkmate. But in some endgames like this, Now this pawn structure becomes quite weak, and probably this one is a draw because the pawn on b3 will fall as well. For example, g5, or let's say rook d6, rook b3, and now knight c4. White will regain the pawn on a6, but black is probably has enough counter chances to ensure a draw somehow, at least according to objective measures. But he kept queens on the board, which I like way more, and they went for a sort of repetition. Excuse me, Felix, can't you make either your voice louder or Leech's effects a little bit quiet, please? Yeah, sure. I thought that the sound is okay, but thank you for pointing that out. I will make the sound a little bit from Leech's a bit more silent. So now it should be a bit, the volume is a bit lower. Let me know if it's all right now, or if you would like to decrease, if you would like me to decrease it even further. So they went for a repetition once, but Prague wants to play for a win. Went queen c6, and now he decides to take. And the rook swung to g3, or swung, I think. What is it? What is the past tense of swing? Help me out, guys. Swing, swang, swung? No idea. No idea. A4, a5, e3, g6. So this pawn on c5 is now also quite a target. That's a very nice move, g4. We often see that happen. If a knight is on g7, white very often plays g4. Because actually a knight on g7 is not that great of a defender for the king in most cases. Because if you have a knight on g7, it most likely means that your dark squares are weakened as well. And the knight cannot, doesn't guard any of the dark squares from g7. Now it's fine. Okay, great, fantastic. So g4, this is an idea which we see quite often, quite important to keep in mind. And now this is the current position. Someone pointed out before that Prague is low on time. Yeah, now especially with only 4 minutes on the clock. But we are approaching the time control, so I think he should be fine. Yeah, quite a tough position to understand. He went queen d2, going after this pawn on c3. I wonder what happens if white just defends it like this. Depending on the tense, both swang and swung can be correct. Okay, that's good to know. Thanks for saying that. Yeah, I was just wondering what happens after rook e3. Apparently now black should go for the exchange of queens. Okay. Yeah, I can believe that the position like this is probably fine because white cannot attack the pawn c5 with one more piece, and therefore this rook alone is doing a good job defending this pawn. And maybe black can slowly bring his knight back into the game through d6 or f6 perhaps. But apparently there is a chance with rook d1, for example, somehow giving up this pawn. Rook e3. And just seizing control of this d file. Why isn't Hare Krishna playing this tournament? I thought he usually plays this event. Yeah, he usually does. He also won the 2022 edition, where I was actually a second for him there. So that was one of the coolest experiences to be able to help someone to win such a strong event was really memorable. But this year he's not playing. I assume it's just because he's well, he's always around 2700, but simply there are players like Aravindh now who is 2730. He's up and coming, so I don't blame the organizers for inviting a younger player. Even though, of course, it's a pity that Hari is not playing because he's well, he's always a fantastic guest in such events because he just plays very enjoyable chess, I think, overall. So yeah, apparently he can sacrifice or should sacrifice this pawn here and go back and seize the control along the d file, but very hard to spot. And he went rook e3, which was also the move I suggested. Looks very, very logical. And rook c1 is on the board. Okay, next game between Navara and Le Quang Liem. So this is quite a theoretical line. Knight d7, very solid. White has many different options here. Bishop g5 is one of them. C takes d5 is one of them. Bishop f4, probably the main move here. And now d takes e4, e3, and now he went knight b6. Black again has many moves here. Bishop d6 is an option. b5 is probably the most concrete option here for black. But he went knight b6, and after bishop c4, he went bishop d6. He could also take on c4. The point is for white, of course, that he has to regain the knight like this. But went bishop d6 first, bishop g3, and we anyway got similar structure. And yeah, seems like, I guess, nothing that much happened in this game. Rook endgames just should be a draw here with equal material. b6 interesting, going for this exchange and regaining back the pawn. And funny that Lik Fang played on here with f5. But yeah, at the end of the day, a draw was agreed. Wei Yi against Anish. That was an Italian, yeah. I was quite intrigued by what happened here. Like, he went bishop e6, knight d5, and now back bishop d7. Very interesting. I've never seen this idea in my life. They have been playing this line quite frequently here with the bishop on e7, which tends to be a little bit passive, but overall, black is solid enough to make this sort of thing happen as well. Like, for example, this would also look logical, but the queen usually gets some counter, so black gets some counterplay on the king side, usually involving queen e8, queen g6, or queen h5. So knight d5, bishop d7. By the way, another very funny idea is knight b8, which I also checked some time ago. Usually this knight on c6 tends to be quite misplaced in e4, e5 structures, actually, because we often see white placing the pawn on c3, and then the knight on c6 is actually not doing that much. So in most cases, usually black would even want to exchange this knight in many cases, usually involving knight d4 quite often. But he went bishop d7, preparing knight takes d5. Of course, immediately he cannot take because of the fork. And he went back with the bishop, offering a repetition of moves, and Wei Yi went c3. Takes, a5. Quite a nice move, I like it. Because if white goes a4, then his problem is whenever d4 comes, let's just say black makes a move like, I don't know, queen c8, and if d4 comes, then black always has this option to put the knight to b4. That's why this inclusion of a4 and a5 often favors white in this structure, favors black. So he played d4 right away, and now a4, and all of a sudden, some sort of King's Indian structure ensued, where this pawn on a4 does a fantastic job because it's limiting white's counterplay immensely on the queen side. Usually white would like to gain space with b4 and then c5, but here whenever b4 comes, black will just take, and then the pawn on a3 will become a major weakness. So he stopped c5, b6, and went for f5, of course, the typical break in the structure. And yeah, players are just waiting. Wei Yi is still trying to play for something. He didn't go for the repetition of moves. So I assume now he's trying to target the pawn on a4 as well, perhaps also involving knight c3, but black can always defend it with queen d7. So quite an interesting fighting position. Probably white is a little bit better here, but yeah, no clear breaks for white. So I think this is heading towards a draw as well. And looks like Aravindh is doing well. Yeah, this opening was highly interesting. So Aravindh went for the Queen's Gambit accepted. And here he played this move a6, which is already quite uncommon. Usually black goes knight f6. And after e3, white just gains back the pawn and c5. And here black has both moves a6, knight c6, and very solid for black, of course. But instead he went a6 and he followed it up by going b5, already hinting that he wants to keep this pawn on c4. But of course, white has his own ideas. a4, typical idea in the structure, just immediately trying to undermine black's pawn chain. Bishop b7 forced, otherwise ab5 comes. And now he went b3, another typical idea. Now he has to give back the pawn, because if he takes here, then I guess white can take. And maybe queen takes b3, already knight e5 could be an idea. Or bishop b5 also looks possible. Looks like black is a little bit slow here overall with his development. So he went knight f6, b takes e4, and now b4. That was quite shocking to me. I saw that e6 has been played a couple of times, I think by Mamedyarov. And after b takes e4, b takes e4, bishop takes e4, I think knight f6. And we reach kind of a typical Queen's Gambit accepted position, just that the b pawns are missing, which probably favors white a little bit, because he can attack the bishop on b7 often with rook b1. But I thought this should be quite playable overall as well, even though white is a little bit better. I discovered you, Dr. Kankenstein is writing. I discovered you through Hikaru. Hope you achieve great heights in the future. Rooting for you. Thank you, man. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Anyway, knight f6 happened, b takes e4, and now he went b4, which was extremely shocking for me, honestly, because you don't see this type of structure happen very often, and it looks like this pawn on b4 could become a major target for white to hit. And now he went c5, already hinting at the fact that this pawn on b4 could be attacked by queen b3, which he also played on the next move, knight c6, queen b3. Also knight c6, a nice move, honestly. I mean, it's quite logical, but again, it's just such an unusual structure that I was just kind of, I don't know, just couldn't believe my eyes what I was seeing here. I honestly almost never saw this structure before. Queen b3, and now he went e5. So very interesting. I think the computer was showing that bishop c4 is the best move here, provoking knight a5 and then going back to e2. I'm already curious what the chess analysts will come up with here, because I briefly turned on my strong Stockfish, my local engine, and it was saying something like 070, 080. But I wonder what comes out of this with deeper analysis, because I imagine if you check this with very strong computers, including some neural networks like Lila, for example, you could probably make this work. Like I saw the computer was saying ideas like g5, perhaps even. Again, 0.8 or 0.9 even, but like for one game, I think it's a very nice idea, very interesting idea, even though it might not be fully correct. Queen b3, yeah, I was wondering if bishop c4, now if black goes e5, what happens? I assume it could be knight g5, yeah? Is that correct? Yeah, now knight g5 apparently works well. Even this plus 1.3 is, yeah, I'm not entirely convinced yet. Okay, probably now I am, yeah. If king c8 has to be played, it's probably not that good. But still, white has to be very accurate here. d5, knight e5, bishop e6, king b8, c6. Oh my god, I'm having so much fun here. Like, what is this position here? Can you believe this? What am I seeing here? Bishop e2, knight c4. Even h6, yeah. Okay, let me just follow this line. Why is this not working? Okay, I'm not understanding anything at all here. Castle rook g8, yeah. I mean, this is fantastic. But at the end, apparently it's lost, yeah. Apparently it's lost in the end. So yeah, Vincent played queen b3, and now e5 was working. I saw also not only this computer, by the way, just what the hell is this move? Rook g8, second best move. Like, if you make some sort of move, then at least play e6, yeah? Like, what is the idea? I guess you want to play g5, yeah? That's just out of this world. What do you think about this? Is it too much? Should I play some Blitz instead? I mean, this is... I find this to be highly entertaining, but... Anyway, e5 happened, bishop c4, queen d7, and now Vincent went bishop b2, which the computer doesn't like. Knight g5 is was the main move here, and I think my engine was showing queen g4 here to be the best. Apparently knight d8 could also be an option. D takes e5, knight g4, f4, bishop c5, h3. What if I go back? White just has very nice squares overall. Also, this battery is very powerful. Like black would have to get knight c6, knight a5 to be somewhat fine, I guess. To be somewhat fine. But queen g4 I think was the best move, and I didn't fully understand yet what is happening here. Probably even after analysis I won't. Bishop f7, king d8, h4. Who in their right mind will play h4 here? Oops, sorry. h4 is incredible. h6 and now bishop e6. Getting knight f7 now. Queen g2, knight f7. King e7. Rook f1. It goes on, yeah? Do you guys see this? Bishop e4, knight e2. Okay, good luck. Yeah, good luck finding all of this in a game. Good luck finding all of this in a real game. I think I don't have to add anything else to that. Apparently, in the end, it's somewhat playable. But yeah, again, I'm very curious how the evaluation is after bishop c4. Like, if you seriously check this. So there were some ideas with g5. Also, there was this more solid approach to continue with g6. But like in the long run, I would be a little bit worried here about this pawn on b4. Also, black now doesn't have any breaks with e5. That's another story. And if he doesn't have any breaks, he also has this weak squares. For example, I don't know, knight d2, short castle, and now move like maybe not rook b1 because then knight d5 is there. But a move like can I also just go knight c4? I cannot do that. Again, black knight will jump into here. But rook. Bishop b2 perhaps looks logical. Also not that clear, yeah, knight e4, and I guess this pawn on b4 is not as weak as I thought it to be. It's also not that easy to attack it. Queen d2 runs into knight b3. Insane lines, yeah? I agree. So again, guys, I think if you're looking for something in the Queen's Gambit Accepted, for like a new direction, I would definitely urge you to look into this, because I think basically all of this is sort of forced. I mean, what might be an issue if you're trying to play for a win is something like this, for example. Because I guess, I mean, there is just nothing to play for here. This is just quite a clear draw to me. But also just if you're trying to look for a surprise for your opponent, I think this might be very interesting to look into. Felix, will you play in the World Cup? I'm not sure yet. So I didn't manage to qualify in the previous European Championship. If I would have won my last game against Vasil Ivanchuk there, I might have had chances to get into the, what is it now? Is it top 15 that qualify from the European Championship? I think they changed something. Back in the day, it was the top 23, if I'm not wrong. But I think they changed something. I think they decreased the number a little bit. So I'm not sure yet if I will play. I will compete now in the second chance to qualify in the second European Championship, which happens in 3 weeks in Romania. And yeah, that's basically it. Austria does have one spot from which we won at the Olympiad. There is a system like this that if you place in the top 20, I think, European countries in the chess Olympiad, then your country will have one World Cup spot. But yeah, hopefully one of the Austrians, or at least some of the Austrians, will qualify in the European Championship, because otherwise we would have to play a match to decide who gets the spot. It will be either Markus Raga, Valentin Dragonev, Dominik Horvath, or myself. Do you have any thoughts on Hans Niemann playing Airfield Open? Actually, I didn't really see that yet. I only saw that he posted a picture, I think a selfie from himself in front of the Red Square. I think it's called the Red Square, right? Like with the famous church behind it. It's not a church. What is it called? Like the Orthodox type of church. I heard that FM Kruckenhauser gets the World Cup spot for Austria. Maybe as well, if FM Kruckenhauser is somehow above 25-20 or 30, then he might have a chance. By the way, also you need to be on the team that competed in the Olympiad. So FM Kruckenhauser would have had to compete in the Olympiad as well. That's all I wanted to say. All right. So I'm doing good. Dark comments. Please don't spam that much. But I'm doing fine. Thank you for joining the stream as well, and thank you, Alex, for the super. Really appreciate it. So I hope you guys enjoy the stream. We were just looking through some of the games from the Prague Masters. Some quite interesting games. So yeah, and thanks again, Alex. Really appreciate your super. Hope you enjoy the stream as well. Yeah. Cathedral. Yeah, it's called a cathedral, of course. Thank you. Kruckenhauser deserves a spot for the surname alone. Yeah, I agree. Kruckenhauser is a very beautiful name. I like it. All right, so I got kind of carried away in the opening. Anyway, Vincent played bishop b2, e takes d4, bishop takes d4, and now knight e4. What if e takes d4? Oh, long castle even, wow. Why not knight a5 immediately, I'm wondering? Queen takes b4. If knight c4, you want queen b7? Yeah. And white won a pawn. And if bishop f3, oof. Queen a5, bishop g2, rook g1. Bishop d5, takes. I mean, this looks very nice for black as well. Like, I don't understand why white is better here. I guess it must be very concrete. But I don't believe any of those evaluations, honestly. Like, it's just so hard to believe that black is in some trouble here. Dark comments. Yeah, I will try to upload more regularly. Just somehow is more time. Sometimes it's less time. By the way, please stop writing in caps only. What's your take on Hikaru reacted on one of your... Yeah, I also made the reaction, by the way. I also made my own reaction stream. Was it... I think it was 2 days ago. So, of course, it was nice to see Hikaru responding. And it's an important issue overall, so I'm just happy that he also spoke about it. What browser is this you're using? I'm just using regular Chrome at the moment. If you have any other suggestions about browsers. I would be curious as well, actually, because I mean, you always hear those concerns about data privacy, and I assume that if you're using Chrome, then you basically don't have any data privacy whatsoever. But for me, it's just very convenient overall, so that's why I currently use it. But I would be very open to change to new ones. I have been using Firefox in the past, but somehow I like the whole UI with Chrome better. By the way, it was really delightful to realize your temporary sacrifice to force to draw against Wojciech. It was really impressive from you. Thank you, man. I was also quite happy with that game. There was this moment where I played this h6 move, if you remember that. So, yeah. Use Brave. I heard that there were some issues with Brave as well in the past, like that they at some point sold some data to some data brokers or something like that. Even though now this was quite a long time ago, but I heard that there were some issues with that. So yeah, but it's probably one of the better ones. Alex is writing in German, small support, because I heard that chess professionals don't have it so easy. Well, yeah, I mean, okay, to make like a closing statement on that, I also discussed it in the Hikaru video as well. But honestly, like chess professionals have it actually pretty good. Like if you compare to other sports, you are able to make a living from chess. Like even if you're an international master, or even like a amateur player, like around 2000, there are players that make a living from coaching quite well. I'm not sure that this is such a good business in other sports as well. And yeah, even if you're a top 100 player, you can make a living by purely playing, which is also not granted. Like in some other smaller sports like chess, there are only 10 players in the world that can make a living from that, perhaps. Yeah, like even snooker, for example. I have a hard time believing that if you're not in the top 10 in snooker, then it would be, yeah, probably impossible to live from that. That would be my assumption. But if you know more about snooker, I would be curious to hear about it. Do you like any football team? I'm gonna spark some controversies here, but I grew up with like there was this goalkeeper called Iker Casillas, who played for Real Madrid back in the day, and he was always my favorite player and goalkeeper, of course. And he played for Real, so I was always supporting his team, Real Madrid. But since he retired, I don't really have a favorite club anymore, I would say. They can sell my data. I think it damages the buyers and not me. I don't even want to know what you're browsing for then. Yeah? Must be quite horrible. Sorry, I mixed up. I meant against Raga. Against Marcus. Yeah, I mean that was yeah, quite a quick game, but still some nice complications there. I didn't make a summary of that game, but I'm glad you enjoyed it. But anyway, what I wanted to say about being a chess professional, yeah, the whole video I made sounded way worse than I actually think about the situation, because I'm honestly very happy with how things are going for me personally at the moment, and I really enjoy everything. So, and I'm like top 400 in the world, maybe top 500 in the world. So, yeah, I'm in a very good situation. Hey Felix, you mentioned that you got a lot of improvement from Yusupov's books. Could you go into more details about your experience at what ELO you were by the time you started? Fantastic question. Really like that question because I wanted to speak for it for a longer time already. So as you heard, and as I often said on my channel as well, for me personally, the best tool for improvement when it comes to studying on my own has been, let me see if I have the book here. Has been this fantastic book series. I want you guys to see this. So this is the German version. It's called Tigersprung by Artur Yusupov, Grandmaster. And this was the best tool for me to really improve my game, honestly. So I started working with those books seriously when I was 12, I think. And at that time, I had a rating of 1900 to 2000. And I seriously studied the first 3 editions of that book in a matter of maybe 3 months. So I seriously went through those 3 books. So I was studying a lot back then. And I increased my rating in a matter of 5 months from 2000 to 2300. I think it was purely because of those books, because I think the whole regimen, the whole examples are just fantastic. Like Artur Yusupov's books are, for the record, one of my by far favorite chess books overall. I highly recommend you to look into that. Second favorite is probably Dvoretsky. I recently started working with his books again, also looking for training material for my students, and the examples are just amazing. So I really like both of Artur Yusupov and Dvoretsky. I'm not sure now if the books by Artur Yusupov are available in English. Let me know if you guys find something out about that. So the German name is Tigersprung by Artur Yusupov, but I'm not sure if there's an English version. Did you study exactly as he instructs in the beginning? Well, to be honest, I didn't set up the positions on the board. I was simply studying out of the book, often, which I think often helped me even visualize even further, because I was going through the examples just in my mind and I was not making any moves on the board. So I think that helped me even more. But I think it's simply not sustainable to set up like per chapter. I guess you would have to set up like 15 positions. That just takes too much time, in my opinion. And if you're already like a good player, like 2000 rating, you're already a strong player, then I think the visualization should be fine overall as well. And it will only improve your visualization. Of course, it's going to be hard, but it's going to improve it. How do you handle failure in between tournaments and other tournaments? Yeah, just honestly, I see it as motivation. If I do badly, I just want to improve myself. Somehow this comes from the inside for me. If I'm not doing well in a tournament, then I want to be able to prove myself that I can do it better. Do we watch snooker? And yes, you are correct. It's not that easy to live of it, but while watching matches, you see a lot of sponsorship logos on the uniform, so most of it is from sponsorings. Okay, interesting. I don't watch snooker. I only know, at least by face, this very famous player. I think he's from Ireland. I forgot his name, honestly, but let me know what his name is. I think he's from Ireland, like the kind of the GOAT of snooker, I think he's regularly called. But interesting that there are many sponsors for snooker. I mean, it is a very popular game after all. So I was just comparing it. Like snooker is also very popular, and as we now said, probably only the top 20 or so can probably make a decent living of it. So chess is much better than that, and much better than many like side sports, which chess is in that regard as well. I think this is the Boost Your Chess series. This is the English name, you mean? Boost Your Chess? I'm gonna have to check it out. Will it come to any Grand Prix in Romania? I'm not sure yet, honestly. There are these rapid events, but I also didn't see the dates yet for when they're gonna happen. If I have time on 1 or 2 editions of them, I might consider playing. If there already is a regulation, you could maybe let me know. Then I'm gonna check it out. Ronnie O'Sullivan. Yeah, of course. Ronnie O'Sullivan. Yeah, yeah, of course. That's the name I was looking for. Do you like freestyle chess? Yeah, it's certainly interesting. I made a separate video on that as well. But it's definitely interesting. Okay, so yeah, lots of things happened in that game. It looks like Aravindh was outplaying Vincent in this complicated position. So endgame with the pawn up, but quite serious drawing chances, I would say, for black. For white, apologies. Because just the pieces are quite active, especially the knight on d4 does quite a nice job. Oh, that's a nice trick. Vincent must have missed this. So king b7, and apparently he has to go back somewhere. Rook c1 would look logical, but also here rook e5. And this rook comes to h5 or to a5, and both these pawns are quite weak. So it looks like this endgame is actually very hard to defend. And rook e5 is a nice shot, because if white takes, knight c4 check, and usually pawn endgames are knight endgames are very similar to pawn endgames. So this means now black is a pawn up, so probably has is probably just completely winning. Same as it would also apply in a pawn endgame. Snooker is a tough earning as well. Only if you're a top 16 player, you can make serious money. Yeah, top 16 even. Yeah. Do you like reading non-chess books? If so, which ones are your favorites? Yeah, I love reading overall. Unfortunately, recently I haven't read that much. But they're like my favorite author when it comes to non-chess books is Bernhard Schlink. He's a German author, and he's by far my favorite author. There was the one book which was even made into a movie, which was kind of an international hit. It's called The Reader. In German, Der Vorleser. But I read basically all of Bernhard Schlink's books, and I loved all of them. But usually I read more of like not novels, but some is it called realism? Like talking about geopolitics or history or things like that. I really like those books as well. Or finance, I usually read something like that. Only novels I read are by Bernhard Schlink, basically. So rook e5 is a nice shot, and yeah, black's pieces are very active. And this is the current position, and it looks like Vincent will lose because this pawn is simply queening. Rook c2 doesn't work because of knight e3. Can you write the author's name into the chat? Yeah, sure. Let's see if I can do that on OBS. Yeah, I think you should be able to see it, right? So, yeah, looks like Vincent is going to lose, unfortunately, after such a nice game which he played yesterday. He's going to head to a draw. Oh, and Nguyen is winning. Or not. Or not. Let's see how this happened. King e2, queen e5. I mean, this pawn is very dangerous, yeah? Like, it doesn't take a lot of time for this guy to reach the back rank. The one that Kate Winslet played, Hannah Schmitz, I'm not entirely sure. I haven't seen the movie personally. And I think there were no names of the main characters in the book, but it's been a long time since I read it as well. And any interesting suggestions against Najdorf? Well, there are so many lines. It all depends on your style. If you're more of an attacking player, I would recommend either bishop g5 or bishop c4 in move 6. If you're more of a positional player, then something like bishop e2 or h3 or g3 would perhaps suit you better. Or a4. a4 is also a very positional line on move 6, a4. But anyway, so Sam went for the queen exchange, thinking that he would have an easy draw here, and honestly, it does look like a draw. I don't see how white can break through. How about rook g1? Rook g1 is also more on the aggressive side as well, for sure. Rook g1 on move 6 against the Najdorf. So, well, my assessment is that this is just a complete draw. I don't see how white can make any progress here. Can this be the idea? That the king runs over? Ah, and the king... Hang on. This is interesting. What did you suggest to Harry? Against the Najdorf? You think I'm gonna tell you all of my secrets, all of our secret preparation right here? I'm not gonna sell out Harry. Not yet. Well, you can actually check his latest game, so there you might see some Najdorf games and what his current preparation is. He did have 2 Sicilians in Tata Steel, where I helped him. So you will definitely get an insight if you look at those games on what our prep was. Tried to qualify for the 3 Czech championship, didn't go so well. There is something like that. There is a 3 Czech championship. Interesting. Didn't know that. At some point, white could sacrifice on e7 to grab the kingside pawns, maybe. Yeah, that's also one idea. Like, for example, here you could think about this. But after taking, like, black could even... No. Like, I don't see the winning plan. If I just stay like this, I just cannot move my bishop, yeah? And that's the only thing I shouldn't do, because then this pawn starts running. By the way, just wanted to say thanks a lot for consistently uploading quality content as a 21-feet teenager, 14 to be exact. I learn a lot, and it is rare to find such insights on how GMs think. I really appreciate that, man. We really appreciate it, because this is exactly why I'm doing this. Because I see a lot of content online in general, which is like maybe very entertaining, but at the end of the day, where you're maybe not actually improving your game that much. And it's really nice to hear that you find my content useful. And so yeah, really happy about that, and all the best for your journey. If you have any video suggestions, of course, let me know in the chat as well. What's the fastest way to get GM norms? Well, technically, probably to play these closed tournaments. In like, there are these closed GM tournaments where the GMs are paid, and often there are some dirty things as well involved, like selling some games and so on. But honestly, I think I almost never played in those. I think 2 times in those closed events. Probably a bit more, but it was always when I played it was always a good experience. Like, there were no foul things happening. Yeah, I like the value of the educational side. Thank you. It's great to hear. Classical analysis is more useful than Blitz. Well, this stream is titled Road to 2700 Blitz. So I was intending to play some Blitz. But yeah, of course, overall, studying in other ways is probably more useful for your chess. Who do you stand for, Hans and Magnus? I don't really pick a side in all of this. I think that both of the players do have certain points where they probably have a point, but yeah, I just don't know enough about it as well to have like a full opinion. Like, there are many things here happening in the background. I think we all will know more once the Netflix documentary will come out. Who do you think is stronger? Well, Magnus is way stronger. Even though if Hans has like a good day, he can easily compete with Magnus. Like, Hans has these days where he just plays extremely well. I have to say that. But overall, Magnus's strong point compared to basically any other top player is simply his consistency. He's always performing consistently at the highest level, basically. So yeah. Okay, so this endgame, let's have a look again. What is happening here? So he even gave this pawn, and I assume there's just no way to make progress, yeah? Now we have the same position as before. Even white has the pawn on e6, but it just looks like a fortress. Like, black just cannot move this bishop, as I said before. Whenever this pawn starts rolling, it's over. But he can just wait with the king, yeah. Looks like a draw to me. Looks like a draw to me. Is it hard to get from FM to IM cause while watching? Because it is very interesting to see some unrated players that crush FMs. I have a hard time understanding your question. Yeah, if you could clarify, perhaps. Okay. So yeah, it looks interesting. Probably all of the other games heading towards the draw except for the Aravindh game. So yeah. All right. Let's go back to main leeches. What did you think about Hikaru's reaction to your video? Yeah, we already talked about it a little bit before. Well, I'm obviously very happy that my video was seen by many strong players and like Hikaru, like a superstar when it comes to chess streaming, and that he uses this to talk even further about the topic, because he's always been very vocal about the current situation with professional chess, and yeah, it was nice to see him talk about it as well. Prepping best for Blitz, I guess best way to prepare for Blitz is to play Blitz, which I am gonna do right now. I haven't played any Blitz in a very long time, but I will try to reach 2700 now in this stream, because my rating is ridiculously low. Knight c3. What is this? Some tricky line, yeah? Never seen this before in my life. What do you do here? It looks ridiculous. Okay, I guess this move cannot be wrong, right? Bishop b5 for sure has idea. And it's not even so easy. Okay, I have to focus. I don't see a move here. Am I just in trouble or what? Just gonna sacrifice the pawn, I think. For some hopefully active play. Any underrated 26 plus player who do you think is stronger? I guess there are a couple of them. Like technically Ivanchuk, you could say, who sometimes has these days where he just plays extremely well. Yeah, so his queen has had quite a long journey already. Let's harass it even further. Did you follow the... Oh, I missed that or what? Huh. I just didn't see that. I don't like where this game is heading. Let's give another pawn. Yeah, about Hans's inconsistent strength. Well, that can have like a couple of reasons, I guess. With style, for example, would be one explanation. What a strange position this is. Is he gonna sack? Yeah, rook lift to g4, yeah. Yeah, I followed the Graz Open. I think a Chinese grandmaster won it in the end. Let's go all in. A4. What is even the point of that? Don't understand it yet. Nguyen is very strong, yeah. Very solid as well. He won the Tata Steel. No, just yet. The B group. So he's gonna play in the Masters next year as well. Yeah, very strong player. That's true. I'm so low on time. Oof. That's not good. I mean, he wants... Gotta be a bit faster. But now my position is probably just lost. And I'm just too low on time. I was talking a bit too much. I was talking a little bit too much. Even though now I'm winning again, but unless I pull off some sort of miracle, I'm gonna lose on time. Okay. I was way too slow. Too weak, too slow. Okay, now I'm gonna play what I know best. The Reti. Does he see it? He does see it. Did you guys see it? That's the main question. What is this move? I think this should be pretty good for me. Typical King's Indian structure. I saw that you asked before why I was looking at Queen d6 before and didn't play it in the end. In the previous game, Queen d6, I just thought that Knight f3 would come. But maybe then I can go e4, yeah. I didn't think about it that well. b5. This is enough for him? Enough compensation? Maybe. Wow. Even this. Even he allows me to take here. That's a bold decision. Not gonna take it yet. I don't see any reason to take it just yet. Can I even go a4? Why not? I don't see why not. Yeah, I think knight f3 was a bit unpleasant still in that last game. I think that works. No sacrifices yet, but now he has some ideas here, so I think now I'm just gonna take. Oh, he takes with a knight. Do I have this? Rook h7, king h7, queen f7, and rook h1 will come. Does he have any defense there? I don't see it. I don't think I'm blundering anything. I hope I'm faster, but I think I should be. But what do I do now? I don't see the win. I just don't have anything here. Wow. I don't even have a draw. That's crazy. There must have been a win, right? Sorry, I think I was muted. I just saw it now. I just said, yeah, thank you for letting me know. So I said, hi Gary, welcome to the stream. Wait, aren't you supposed to be working, Felix? I only work during the mornings for the certain player I'm helping. So at night I'm allowed to play Blitz, fortunately. Wow, I see we have 61 viewers. So welcome to everyone. Welcome to the stream. Before we were discussing the Prague Masters. There's some interesting games ongoing there, and now we just started playing some Blitz. $27 MNS on leeches is pretty fast. What GPU you're using? Well, I have 16 cores if I'm not getting it wrong now. It should be 16 cores. It's quite a strong machine. I bought it recently. Can you give your members Reti Part 1, Part 2 chess-based course? No, I'm not allowed to do that. If you want to purchase the course, it's only available on a chess-based shop. Even though you can go to their YouTube channel, and they did make like some sort of introductory video, and there are some free samples, so you can definitely watch them. And if you like those, you can purchase the course. Playing against Switzerland chair. Let's go for the French. Let's go knight c6. b3. Can't we have any normal openings here today? This is some incredible stuff. It's pretty expensive, yeah. I know it is. I know it is. I think it's 30 euros per part, but you have to consider that I put in a lot of work into that, and it's basically my whole knowledge which I acquired from the ready. So I did put in quite a lot of work into it, and I think the lines which I'm giving are pretty good overall. Yeah, matchmaking was very slow. Yeah, I wonder if you can see the leeches traffic somewhere if it did go down recently. That would be interesting to know. There must be some way to see the traffic, right? Like from websites, like throughout the weeks and months. Okay, so let's go here. If c3, I have knight e6 or knight c6. It's castle. He has the bishop pair, but yeah, I'm probably, I don't know. Maybe it's fine for me. His queen is somewhat strangely placed on d3, so I'm kind of playing on that. Kind of playing for that. Wow, I'm to 26-23. I should really get things moving. Like, this looks so strange to have the queen still on d3. Let's try this. Your course is not expensive. It is very good and worth the money. Thank you for that. Well, I guess it depends where you're living. Like in many countries, 30 euros can be quite a lot of money as well. But I would say if you're living in Europe, then it's probably, considering the amount of work put into it, I would say that it's worth it. This cannot be good for him somehow. Just can't. Like, also this knight could jump into c3 somehow. I think this should be lost for him. Do you know Reiner's d4 repertoire? And do you play it sometimes? Yeah, actually, Rainer Buhmann, I assume you're referring to him. German Grandmaster Rainer Buhmann is a very good friend of mine as well. And okay, now I gotta think. Looks like I have to be winning here with quite a few ways, but need to focus. Yeah, so Rainer is a very good friend of mine, and I am studying his repertoire. Like, I did study it, I saw it. He showed me some lines of that, and I really liked it as well. And even play some lines of it myself. I think I should be winning here. Well, I have to be winning here. Maybe king a1. Ah, he goes here. Have to be faster again. Playing way too slow. Oof, I totally missed that move or what? Can still go rook g8 though. I don't like where this is going. Oh, this is so unlucky. Now I'm losing. Oh, I was so goddamn winning. Like I think it was quite a nice game. Yeah, bishop takes d4 of course was quite a big mistake. And I guess I have like many wins here, but this was even all still fine. I have to take here. Yeah, I mean not that difficult. Not that difficult. But okay, that's why I want to play more and also train my ability to be able to communicate to you while I'm playing. Brandon Jacobson, oh, this is not gonna end well. That guy is super strong in Blitz. Okay. All right. No comments. No comments. I should win this though. Should be able to win this. Let's just put my pieces to normal squares and exchange the and enjoy the being an exchange up. That's my strategy in this game. Not over rush anything. You know what often happens if players are playing against systems like this? They often tend to over rush things, in my opinion. Not sure what my plan is. I think Rainer's d4 repertoire and your Reti repertoire very well. You can start with knight f3 and play what you like. Knight f3, d5, d4, and versus knight f3, play your ready. Yeah, it's in general quite quite flexible as well. Both of the repertoires, I would say. So they do play in. Like they're a good good mix, those two repertoires. He might have some ideas with f5. Not so easy being an exchange up. Now also h5 could come. Let's try this. Even though I don't like it because I'm opening up his bishop. You can ignore us more. I cannot do that. It would break my heart. Just followed you on Leeches and YouTube. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. I just hope his queen will not magically appear on this diagonal. That would be unpleasant. Let's see. Talking about one knight f3, do you know the now old opening for white according to Kramnik from Kalifman? Do you like it? Yeah, I used to study a little bit from it, but it was already quite old, I would say, when I was even 13, 14, 15 and looking at all those different openings, because I think it came out in the early 2000s. So even back then it was in some cases a little bit outdated, even though, of course, I think the book itself gave some very nice recommendations, but I'm not even that familiar anymore with most of the lines in that book. Wow. I'm happy to see that move. Not sure if I should have taken that pawn though. I need to be faster, that's for sure. Oh, why am I allowing knight b4? That's not good. Now it's getting tense. My queen is sort of trapped and everything is hanging. And we both are very low on time. I'm way too slow. I'm way too slow. I need to be much faster. Improve my mouse speed by like 1 million. I'm actually having a question in mind for a few days, which is what do we apply during a chess game, knowledge or skill, or what is it? Well, both, I would assume. You need some sort of knowledge to be able to play, and skill, of course, as well. All right, let's try to win one game at least today. I remember also the last stream I made, I lost like 100 rating points, so I really need to get used to talking more while playing. So this line is, by the way, what I recommend in my Reti course. And I think that knight c6 is a pretty bad move already. And I think that he's in quite deep trouble here already, if I remember correctly. Because his problem in this position is that he cannot really develop his pieces on the queen side. So I think I still give this exact position in my course. And I'm quite sure that I have quite a nice position here, but of course over the board it's never so easy. Let's play h3 to avoid knight g4. His knight is getting trapped. If he plays b6, I'm gonna play f4 and then his knight is trapped. So he played f5, yeah. Let's go f4 anyway. Have you seen that Wesley So plays bullet on minimized screen so that on each move his mouse has pixels? No, I haven't seen that. But that might be a good idea actually. Might be a good idea. Because I have this quite big screen at home. Maybe it's too big to play faster time controls. Just wanted to say I really enjoy watching your videos and streams. Thank you for watching. I'm glad that you enjoy my content. So if h4, he wants to go here and here. Man, it all looks so good for me. So hard to decide on something here. I think I'm just gonna go here. Plays h4, I'm just gonna take. Today I just played Blitz at lunch break at work and I couldn't feel that I was moving differently because of that. Because you were at work, you mean? Oh, knight a6. Completely, bishop a6, completely missed that. I'm gonna have to go back. Yeah, all of a sudden the position is not so clear anymore. I really messed it up. Misplayed that quite badly. I hate making that move, but whatever. Having a little bit of trouble with my pieces. Still, my pieces are so clumsy here. Also, a6 is coming. I'm just lost all of a sudden. All right. Unlucky. Because my work screen is different resolution and I was not finding the squares always. Some moves happened on second and third try. Yeah, if the screen is different and mouse are different, then it's always harder to play faster. That's true. Always need to get used to that. Nowadays, people learn endgames by studying Carsten Müller or Dvoretsky. I studied chess endgames when I was young with books by Auerbach. I studied it in summer holidays in the early 90s from morning. Yeah, back in the days, Auerbach's books were kind of also the authority regarding endgames. Now, of course, there are many other books as well. But I think that still Auerbach's work is very good. Auerbach rules, yeah, absolutely. Again, matchmaking is quite slow, I think. Yeah, as I said before, it would be interesting to see the Lichess traffic, how it continued through the last few months. All right, e4. Let's go c5. Knight c6. Always wanted to play this this opening a bit more, even though I have absolutely no clue about it, and I'm probably gonna do pretty badly. Let's go h5. It's always an idea in this position. Maybe not here, but I guess we'll see. Sveshnikov. This is not the Sveshnikov, right? This was the Kalashnikov, I think. I think this was the Kalashnikov. Can we go bishop h6 here? Let's try it. Because I want to exchange those bishops. This bishop tends to be quite useless. Now it's the question, what do I want to exchange? h3 or d5? Both look pretty okay. Well, let's take like this. Yeah, do I take on e4 or not? That's the question. Should we accept the challenge? I think we should. Not sure where his compensation will be. I thought queen f3 might be interesting, but I do have this move f5. Well, now I think I'm just gonna go back. Could also just castle. Yeah, let's castle first. Because now if queen f3, there's also knight d2. Oops, queen f3, knight d2. The first game after studying Averbach, yeah. Then even after that, you lost an endgame. That's unimaginable. Do we go f5? Let's go back. My problem with Kalashnikov, Sveshnikov is the Rosolimo. Yeah, that's true. That can be a little bit annoying, even though I personally like playing against the Rosolimo with black. Like nowadays, you have quite a lot of very interesting ideas there for black. Like there are many new emerging lines against bishop against the Rosolimo with e6, for example. Many interesting ideas there. Also, of course, g6, which was played by Magnus and others. Also a very serious line. And also now the most recent line is this knight f6 line against Rosolimo, which has quite a healthy reputation as well, as far as I know. What is going on here? Again, I'm playing way too slow. Way too slow. Hopefully he takes here. Not gonna take here. Queen c6. Now I guess he has to trade. Otherwise I will get knight f3. Is my knight getting trapped? I just saw that my knight is gonna get trapped. No, queen d1. I missed it. I missed queen d1. That's not good. Well, this endgame is also quite interesting, but probably lost for me, I would assume. Even like that. Not so clear, but I'm just way too low on time. Yeah. Not a great day. Not a great day. I beat a 2400 as black when I was 1500 in classical as black in Rosalima. Pleasant memories. Yeah, if you win at the Rosalima, it usually tend to be quite nice games, also from my experience. Yeah, so Blitz didn't go as well as I hoped today, but that's not gonna discourage me. We're gonna continue playing a lot of online Blitz in the future, because this is some of the things I really want to improve. Like, I know that I can play Blitz at a much higher level than what I showed today, basically. I just need to improve it, and I want to share that journey with you. After bishop e5, I can't help but think why I didn't play the same position with 1 e5. Yeah, that's true, yeah. If you think about it like this, guess it's still a matter of style. Some people prefer to have the pawn on e5, some prefer to have it on c5. Okay, so I wanted to see if there are any results here. There's also the challengers, which we didn't discuss earlier. In the 80s and 90s, when ChessBase wasn't that popular, the Chess Informant was the source to go for strong players. Yeah, I also heard that Chess Informant was kind of the Bible for chess players back then. But of course, now it's more, everything is a bit easier with ChessBase. Yeah, so Nguyen made a draw. Gurel drew, Lekwang drew, Giri drew, and Aravindh won. Yeah, that was kind of what my prediction was. And in the challengers, maybe before we end the stream, we're gonna have a look at that, what happened here. So Biara, who I think won his first game against Kukulas, with the white pieces a draw against Salgado, a Berlin, and bishop e3. Interesting idea, never saw that before. I wonder what's the idea of him after d6. I guess just to play this position, yeah. Okay. Because there are also some ideas to play like this. I have checked something similar, but of course black is always fine. It also reminds me of my game against Vasily Levanchuk. It was like basically the same structure. I had the black pieces and I was also more or less fine. But yeah, this is what they played. c4, nice plan, knight c3, and yeah, they played this position. c6, apparently mistake. Not easy to understand, yeah. Black apparently should go knight c5 as long as he can, and this is not a threat, because now the pawn on d3 will be weak as well. And if knight b2, I guess a5, then a4. And now he got d4 and e4. Oh, that's a nice move. I guess he had it with the same idea to get the structure. Because he cannot take because of what, knight f5 simply. I thought rook d1, but then there's queen a7 or even knight f4. I thought I was winning because of the pin, but there's also queen a7. But he played it like this. Apparently e4 is even more powerful because now what's the difference? The queen cannot go to b5, yeah? As it happened in the game. This endgame still looking a bit better for white, but not easy to break through. And here they made a draw. Finek with white, one of the young and upcoming Czech players. So he even went out of the draw basically. That shows a nice fighting spirit. But yeah. Now all of a sudden, if someone is better, it's probably black, but I'm gonna turn off the engine for now. Just to say that. In 2006, I was on a tournament in Serbia and bought a chess informant in Russian defense. There were very beautiful game trees, nice memories. Yeah, I'm sure back in the day, this must have been like a very special feeling to study chess like that. I'm kind of sad I didn't get to experience that era basically. But yeah, black seemed to have been pushing. I don't know if he has to exchange rooks here, but otherwise probably also not easy to make any advances. And this is how the game went. 95, yeah, so he has to go back. And here they settled on a draw. I guess white will win the d2 pawn, black will win the a3 pawn and these 2 pawns, so it will be a draw, yeah. Maurizio with white against Yakuboev. And here we have the knight off and queen d3, which is another interesting line for white. But with this line, it's quite hard for me to say if this is actually more positional or attacking. I would say probably more strategical in general. But there are also some lines which tend to be quite sharp here. I remember there's one Jordan van Forest game, and it was after e6 where I think he played g4 against Benjamin Gledora. This must have been in 2023 at the Grand Swiss. I think there was some idea like this. So this tended to become quite sharp. But other positions, like if black goes knight c6, then these positions tend to be very positional. White has ideas with b3, bishop b2, or also some queen g3 ideas to stop e6, followed by black's development. Do you know the book How Karpov Wins by Mednis? Siletsky told me, learned a lot from it. No, don't know that. Gotta check it out. How Karpov Wins. So Yakuboev played knight d7 and a4. That allows b4. Usually in a knight off, if you play b5 very fast, it does have this downside that white can immediately play with a4. But I'm guessing this might be still some sort of theory. I have no idea. I always try to avoid those positions with both colors because they are just so messy. So yeah, black does have white does have a lead in development, but if black is able to get all of his pieces out, he's probably fine. Yeah, a4, nice positional move, because if black were to castle, then b4, I would assume. And white has this very nice pawn mass on the queen side. a5, b5 will come, and white is probably doing very well here. So a5 seems quite important. Now he's going after this pawn and immediately trying to have some play. Sacrifice the pawn. And still has very nice compensation. Won back the pawn. And now we have an endgame like this, which, yeah, is probably a draw. But white is definitely pushing here. Yeah, he's also went out of the draw. Because white has this outside passer and is trying to play for that. And now that's the current position. Divya Deshmukh won against Richard Starmach. Interesting. Went for bishop f4, yeah. This is one interesting sideline here. White is just going for the structure. Bishop f5 and queen f3. Very interesting. Can white take here? I don't think so, right? It's actually possible. a3 is the point. Oh, that's hard to spot. Queen b3, queen a5. It's actually a nice exercise. Do you intentionally use the weaker Lichess engine? Is there a stronger one? I can use the 17, yeah? I could use that one. I guess that's one difference, right? I guess that one's stronger. But yeah, I usually don't really care that much about the engine, just if I'm missing some tactics. If it comes to general evaluation of the position, I try to come to some sort of conclusion by myself in most cases, even though it's very practical to have the engine. Did you ever play unsound openings hoping for cheap wins? Actually, almost never. Like, maybe there are some lines which is kind of testing the opponent, but it's not like I'm playing any gambling lines where if the opponent finds the refutation, basically, then it's over. I never did the gambling business in openings. No chance I can find a3 if you gave me that as an exercise. Yeah, very hard, yeah, but actually nice exercise. Like, in this position, you could ask your students, for example, can white take on c7? Also h3 apparently with this same inclusion. It's possible. Again, a3. only good move. And also what you need to evaluate is that this is good for white. But I guess you could come to that conclusion quite easily, simply because the pawn on d5 is very weak, and white has this nice play on the king side with f3, g4, g5, perhaps also f3, e4 playing in the center. But yeah, she played a3, and yeah, c4 is quite a committal decision, of course, because now white has this idea with f3, e4, or as she played with f4. Yeah, c4, it seems a big mistake, actually. Yeah, if black takes on d4, probably not much is happening here, yeah. Still, I'd probably pick white, but should be completely equal, huh? Maybe even black wants to trade here, otherwise the bishop might be a little bit bad. Like if, I don't know, rook e8, for example, knight f4, this bishop can even be trapped somehow, or has to go back to e6 where it's quite passive. So take here, and now, I don't know, queen b6, for example. Queen b6 is running into knight d5. Okay, anything but queen b6, h6 or g6, yeah. Not running into any tricks here. Should be okay. But yeah, now this is quite already crushing, just, yeah. Also not easy to understand at first. But the queen on a5 is also not doing that much. That's, of course, one big issue. Wow, bishop g6. Not bad. Yeah, very nice game by Divya Deshmukh. Very nice game. And Nemets Yachim is winning against Kukulos. This line, which is actually quite old, I would say. It's not really in fashion anymore. But apparently white has found some ideas here. This, he took on c6. Now this is activating the bishop on c8, so maybe we should go bishop f3 first. I don't like d takes c6. And after bishop b7, only now to take, yeah? That would make more sense, because now the bishop is passive on b7. But I wonder how Kukulos... what happened in this game, because here he's clearly cruising. His rook is just very active. Something went wrong, yeah? Very ambitious, overly ambitious, I would say. And white just won now. Or white will win. Yeah, that's unfortunate for Kukulos. So yeah, guys, I think we're gonna call it a day. It looks like Maurizi has blundered. Just so we can finish that here. So g4 apparently. Oh, already here. I completely misevaluated that. But there are some concrete mating ideas here. That's why he had to go g4. So he went out of the repetition and immediately actually ran into a bit of trouble. It always sucks when that happens. Because white is not risking anything here. He could just repeat moves or do anything like bishop b5, for example. But now all of a sudden he lost a pawn and is still having some issues with checkmate. I guess f5, e4, and then bishop f3 is the main idea. Have you ever studied Nimzowitsch My System? Yeah, I even have the book here. So I did study sometimes with that. So Maurizi is losing, that's unfortunate, but again, Divya won a very nice game. Nemets is gonna win against Kukulos, and the rest of the games have finished in draws. And to end everything, let's just jump back into the Masters. Yeah, all of the games are finished. So everyone, thank you for watching the stream. In the end, it turned out to be a bit more of a commentary stream than a Blitz stream, but I still hope you enjoyed that. And yeah, definitely going to stream more in the future, especially online Blitz, since I really want to improve that. And I might also jump into some more commentary. Let me know if you also enjoy that, if I just have a look at some ongoing events. It's always one of the most important training methods for me as well, to follow with current top chess events, to just to know what is going on in the opening stage, and also to have some moments just where you can learn something. So yeah, that's basically it. Thank you all for watching. It was an amazing stream, and yeah, I'm gonna